Hey there folks, the number one Ethel Cain fan from the Infinite Jukebox here with another quick EP review, and today I wanted to talk about the new Ethel Cain EP, Perverts. I think it's pretty fair to say that there is no other artist within mainstream popular music in the United States right now that is quite like Ethel Cain, and perhaps there has never really been any before her either. I mean, sure, some people might still consider her to be a truly alternative musician, but at this point, with millions of monthly Spotify listeners, songs in the tens of millions of streams, not that those numbers really matter on any level that isn't incredibly superficial, I think it's pretty fair to call her mainstream at this point. And it fascinates me that she's as popular as she is, because there really is no other artist as popular as her active today that is simultaneously as abrasive and inaccessible as she is emotionally devastating and open-hearted with some extremely traumatic song topics, which makes one wonder, what exactly is it that has caused so many people to connect with her music on that wide of a level with the kind of reach that she has obtained at this point? Is it the sort of themes of religious shame that she talks about that have made some people connect with that on a deeper, more spiritual level? Is it because the overall vibe of disillusionment and complete and total rejection of the idea of there being, inherent good in the world because of the, pure hate that one has experienced? Is that something that people really deeply relate to? I don't have the answer to that, but one thing is for sure, a lot of people really adore her music, and I can be counted among those individuals. But being so popular, the entire project and name of Ethel Cain got put into kind of an awkward place, because now everything that she made was reaching this wider, more stan-oriented audience, and I don't think it's any secret that she isn't any sort of Taylor Swift, or even really any Chappell Roan. She's a very esoteric artist, to say the least. And that kind of made the future look interesting, but at the same time incredibly confusing, with this newfound popularity not necessarily matching up with the artistic direction that it seemed like Ethel Cain was really going in. And if anything has proved that, it is her latest EP, an incredibly long project, Perverts, that is just devastating in every way. And I'm not even gonna make jokes about how, like, oh, this is the filter for, the TikTok Ethel Cain fans or anything like that, because I think that's corny in the context of this record, which is just absolutely massive and just feels like a massive black hole of an EP, and I mean that in the best way possible. Truly a stunning work. Much of Perverts is reliant on drone ambient music, and that definitely isn't something for everybody, and I personally greatly enjoy it here. I think it's executed extremely well. There's a dark, looming, kind of creeping sensation that you get throughout the entirety of this record. Even later in the album, as it becomes more lyrical, you don't ever really lose that ominous feeling, this creeping sensation that there's just something about this record that is inherently filled with cruelty and depression and every negative emotion that a human being could possibly conceive. Not necessarily in the sense that's trying to convey that to the listener, but rather that that's what this record has felt and experienced, and all of it is being bottled up into this one singular piece of art, and it makes for an incredibly intense and at times intentionally downright uncomfortable listening experience that I certainly do think is worth at least giving a shot if you are interested in seeing just how unnerved you're willing to get with your music. I mean, genuinely, if you can get through all of this in one sitting the first time around, I applaud you. It is not an easy record to get through, and I don't even mean that because of the length. That's not an issue for me. It's just truly an unsettling record in parts, and the drone influences and the ambient work here definitely do play a lot into that. Obviously, those are genres of music designed to create atmosphere of, various kinds, but it really is executed brilliantly here, and I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it. It just contributes a huge amount to the atmosphere of the record here, and rightfully makes this one of the most shockingly unsettling records to come out within the mainstream in quite some time. Lyrically, the entirety of the EP, despite being extremely limited intentionally, is absolutely stunning, with a lot of the song topics here being some of the heaviest material that Ethel Cain has ever really covered throughout her discography, and honestly that's saying a lot considering some of her previous works have been some of the thematically heaviest stuff that we've ever gotten from, just music in general throughout the past few years. But here on Perverts, it gets even heavier, whether you're looking at songs that just have more fascinating, yet at times extremely bizarre song topics, songs about someone psychosexually attracted to an abandoned power plant that originally made up a part of a record that was meant to be, a focus on, song by song character studies of characters that were, meant to be perverts to society that were originally scrapped, to songs that are about people who, after beginning to sort of lose the luster of a relationship that they're in and becoming disinterested in their partner, potentially resort to emotional or even physical violence, songs that are about people just entirely rejecting any sort of relationship or love, songs about child sexual abuse, songs about the very common repeating theme throughout Cain's discography of religious shame and the sort of ostracization faced by many minority groups within religious communities, etc., etc. But more specifically, there is this very constant presence of the great dark throughout her discography, but this record in particular, that feels extremely poignant here, as there's implications of an individual throughout this record sort of chasing euphoria, whether that be drug addiction, some sort of other addiction, some other vice, whatever you may interpret it as. It's something that someone chases and continues to chase to even higher degrees once the initial euphoria is not enough. And eventually the record kind of ends off with the same static that it begins with, resulting in this record feeling sort of cyclical in that regard. Whether that's intentional or not, I cannot say for sure, obviously, but knowing Cain's kind of style, it probably was, as it does feel like a bit of commentary on people trying to chase the various highs of life that they can find when they get bored of their own present state. And it ends up being a devastating record that not only manages to explore the state of a lot of disillusioned people in the world at the moment, but also the manner in which that will repeat from now until eternity. It ends up being a heavy record that's not afraid to very heavily explore these incredibly dark topics, at the same time providing them in a pretty minimalistic way that results in a record that is continuously atmospheric and never manages to break its own atmosphere for the sake of exploring those ideas. They go hand in hand and meld together into something that feels uniquely Ethel Cain. So yeah, as a whole, I'm not even going to pretend like I can truly explain why this record is as heavy as it is in a lot of ways, thematically, stylistically, because even if I had months to sit with this record, I probably still cannot convey it. All I can say is if you have an hour and a half of your life free and you're in the right mood, give this one a spin. It's already a contender for the best EP of the year by far, in my opinion, and you will absolutely not regret listening to it. Just a powerful listening experience through and through in every way that you could possibly ask for. Absolutely stunning. I'm going to give this record 4.5 stars out of 5. With that being said, that's the end of this quick EP review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.